Okay, so this is part 2 of before we start the unpleasant task. So if you landed on this video, you need to go and watch the video before if you haven't already. Just ran out of memory space in the camera. So what we're up to is we've just covered the main part of hexagram 64, and I was just reading the what do you call them, the little numbered notes. There's a special name for them. What are they called? Margin notes or something. And I thought that they almost tell a story unto themselves. So I'm just going to read to you the margin notes because they do provide some nuance. So let's see which bits. Okay, so the first bit's about that there's nothing final about this. You know, once you reach completion, that all it does is start a brand new cycle again. It's just the wheel going round kind of thing. So there's no finality to it in that sense, as well as that you're not quite at the end, as close to the end as you think you are. So yeah, number one, you're not quite as close to the end as you think you are, although the last little bit you may be able to traverse quite quickly. It's still that thing of paying attention right at the end. So number 2 is that it's just the beginning of a new cycle of time. Right. Okay, now there's quite a bit of nuance in this because it's all about timing. It seems it's like waiting for the right time but not being tardy. So this particular little side note says, it implies that we are to expect a setback in our plans. Hence, this is a time for waiting and drawing in our horns. So that was maybe why we're having difficulty starting, because there's some kind of distinction that needs to be made with the sorting of the wheat from the chaff and some kind of a timing issue. Maybe you are waiting on some more information or some detail that's going to help you get clear about what needs to be done. Alright, so you've got moving line 2. We'll move on to the moving lines. So 9 for the second place, and we're still reading in the 3D at this point. Like, we're going to break out the other book and that'll be much more psychological. So 9 for the second place, he breaks the wheel of the chariot, as in your car, your van, or your forward movement, whatever you're doing. Righteous persistence brings good fortune. So, and it's got a little note 6, so we look that up and it says, but note he uses his brakes, i.e. our persistence must be in the firm determination to halt now and proceed later. Right, so there's a timing issue here. There's some little piece of information or something that has to slip into place so that you can move forward smoothly, and that's probably why you're not quite sure how to proceed, is because there is something missing, either a resource or some information or a timing aspect. Right, so it's saying you definitely have to go forward with this thing, that you must remain committed to do this task that needs to be done, but you have to wait just a tiny bit longer because there's something that needs to be understood or lined up or something for you to be ready to do it. So, namely the good fortune of being able to steer a middle course and go straight forward. So, I guess it's just about getting your aim straight, right? If you're shooting an arrow, you don't want to shoot the arrow into some obstacle and, get the arrow caught in the tree branch or something like that. So maybe it's kind of like that. You've got to shoot an arrow and there's some minor obstacle in the way, so you have to clear that obstacle first, or I don't know, some information has to come through to you about the target or something like that. So it remains absolutely firm that you must do this task still, but that the timing is important, and that's because there's something else that has to either line up or some information to come forward or something like that. And once that thing's sorted, then you should be able to fly like straight through like an arrow, like no worries. You know, it says here, the good fortune of being able to steer a middle course and go straight forward. So it's about getting an alignment, I think. It's getting all your ducks in a row, basically. Right, so then you get the second hexagram, which is 35, which you'll be very glad to hear what this one says, because it's very positive and encouraging. So once you get moving, so apparently there's some delay with getting moving still on this task. But once you get moving and you go straight forward, you're going to achieve your task, and this will be the result, which is progress. The richly endowed prince receives royal favours in the form of numerous steeds and is granted audience 3 times in a single day. Right. Okay, so obviously as vegans, you know, we're not going to be riding horses, but it's just what it means is that you're giving valuable gifts. You know, a good steed is a very valuable gift in the olden days. So it's like getting favour from someone of a greater material status than you. That's very materially helpful. And all in one day. So lots of bonuses in one day. So once you clear this energy, which, you know, seems like you have to go backwards a little bit before you can go forwards, then you're going to go straight forwards, you're going to complete this task, and all these rewards are going to come to you. You know, the equivalent of numerous steeds on one day, and being granted audience 3 times. Being granted audiences is not just like being heard, it's like being really listened to, and what you're saying is being taken seriously and respected. You're well received, you're an honoured guest. Okay, this character Ching is identical with a more commonly used character meaning progress. The earth is radiant with beauty, for glad acceptance conjoined with beauty sheds a brilliant light. The yielding advances and ascends to the 5th place and ruling place of the hexagram. Hence the imagery of a splendid prince, royal steeds and frequent audiences. So this is going to put you right in the limelight, basically. It's going to put you in touch with all the resources you need and the audience that you need. So have no fear, you know, it may be difficult and may take a while to get through this last task, as there seems to be some timing issue, resource issue or information issue. But once you do proceed, you get through the task, on the other side you're going to be very busy with all this good stuff. So that's kind of the message with the hexagram 64, is enjoy this last day before everything changes. I mean, it's a cosmic day. It's not necessarily a 24-hour period. It's like a cosmic day. So it's like just a small period of time. Don't be in too much of a hurry, because once things change, it's not going back. It's a full transformation. It won't be the same again. So just be patient as you finish this last stint, which seems to be tricky, you know. There seems to be some sort of tricky thing with timing or information or whatever to line up. But then once you get it lined up, you go straight through, and then you get all these rewards. So in a sense, you're going to be quite busy on the other side of it too. So if it's taking a little bit of, you feel a bit frustrated or held back or whatever on this side of the event, not to worry too much. You're going to have plenty of, it's not going to be boring afterwards. Let's put it that way. All right, so that's that. That's the 3D interpretation. Now we'll look at Carol Anthony. And we'll only read some of the paragraphs. We'll use the coins to check out which ones. It's a bit noisy in this room with traffic. I'm not sure how that will go in the long run. All right, so before completion, it calls it in this one, the judgment. Before completion, success. But if the little fox, after nearly completing the crossing, gets his tail in the water, there is nothing that would further. So it is saying it is really crucial that you finish this task. You can't give up 10 minutes before the task is finished. And the task is some kind of a transformation. So it's kind of like saying, hang in there, you know, don't give up on just before you're about to achieve success. Sometimes the moment just before success is, you know, it's like darkest before the dawn, or it gets tricky or hard to see. Or you might trick yourself into thinking the job's done when it's not completed. It's like this last little bit, it's taking a while, but it's really important and to trust it. Okay, so which paragraphs do we want to read for this particular audience, dear Sage? All right. Oh, okay, shows, do we read? Because there's a lot of them, we won't read them all. Are we reading paragraph 1? No. Because we only want the bits that are relevant. Are we reading paragraph 2? No. Are we reading paragraph 3? No. Yes. Okay, paragraph 3 is relevant to you. It's a 2 yeses. So it's somewhat relevant to some of you. A person may receive this hexagram when he has done 100%, he has done his 100% in achieving his goal. Oh, that's good. Oh my God, I'm getting shivers. Like, this directly relates to me. It's like, have you done enough? Yes, you've done enough. You've done your bit. Okay? So that's really reassuring. I mean, to me, like, I've got this perfectionist thing that flares up from time to time. And so whenever things aren't going right, I'm like, have I not done enough? You know, did I not do it good enough? And so what it's saying is, yes, you have done your bit. You've done everything you were supposed to do, collective. You've done your bit and you've done it good enough. So I'll just read that again because it's such a lovely thing to hear. I want you to hear this. A person may receive this when he has done his 100%. You have given 100%, collective. This is whatever's not complete. It's not because you weren't good enough or you didn't do your bit or whatever, right? You've done your bit. You're good. You're the sage, the cosmos, the universe. God is happy with you. Okay, so when he has done his 100% in achieving the goal, and then he needs to recognize that he can go no further. So you've done everything you can do. And turn the matter of its completion over to the helper of transformation. And this is good, because I don't know if it's going to tell you this here, but it says in another part of the book that the helper of transformation is also the helper of increase. But you get the increase because you did the transformation sincerely, not because you were looking for an increase. So it's, even though you will be awarded with all these bonuses for finishing the job, you do the job because it's the right thing to do, not because you expect some reward. If you try and do it for the reward, you taint it, and you won't necessarily get the reward, or it won't feel as good, or it won't last as long. So you're just still doing the job because it's the right thing to do. But if you do it in that spirit, you do actually get some significant increase, because the helper of transformation is the same as the helper of increase. Right? So the situation is being changed, is being transformed in order to benefit you. All right. Okay, so where are we again? So he needs to turn the matter of its completion over to the helper of transformation. The situation is like that of the musician who has practiced assiduously, has done all he could to understand the feeling of the composer wished to communicate, and is now about to begin the performance. By turning the whole matter over to the cosmos and asking for help, he finds himself guided and playing on a level that is quite beyond his ordinary capabilities. Right. So you've done everything you can humanly do. Now you need to ask for the cosmos and the helper of transformation to help you complete the task, which means it's like handing it over to a high power, right? Handing it over to God to help you complete it. You just take this step forward, but you're not having that attachment and preconceived ideas about the way it's supposed to go. You're just almost trusting muscle memory. So he finds himself guided and playing on a level that is quite beyond his ordinary abilities. He, or she we should say, simultaneously performs and enjoys his or her performing and is endowed with the genius of the helper of transformation. While the feeling is magical, it is the natural way the cosmos performs when we recognise that we are not meant to do it all. Okay, right, so maybe we can't do it all because we're not meant to do it all. Great, that works for me. Okay, that's that paragraph. Now, oh, that was really good, Sage. I like that one, that helps me a lot. Do we see the next paragraph? No. Okay, the paragraph after that one? No. The paragraph after that one? No. So that's 3. I'll just count 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. So we're not reading those. Okay, what about the next paragraph? Yes. Okay, that's 2 yeses. So this is for some of you. A person receives this hexagram to inform him of the effort that is still needed on his part to make the crossing possible. Oh, okay. So this is what you need to do. The first part of his effort consists in becoming centered within himself, which, you know, doing centering exercises. I probably don't need to go through that with you guys. You probably have your own centering exercises. Okay, so you center yourself. Then when he has cleaned out his inner space as described in that exercise, okay, so you've got to clean out your inner space as well, your psychic space, your emotional space. He next asks the sage and the helpers to give him the insight of what he needs to do and to bring the help needed to make that possible. When he has finished these tasks, he then turns the matter over to the sage and the helpers for completion. Okay. So you've got to meditate for an insight and ask for help to complete the task. The help of the task. Okay, next paragraph, yes or no? Oh, okay, so 3 yeses for this next paragraph. So this is for everyone. So this is important to everyone who's hearing this. After turning it over, he needs to keep any doubts, expectations, and wondering about it dispersed and separate from the ego's tendency to focus his inner eye on the matter. This letting go needs to be complete, especially in regard to the time required for the transformation to take place. Okay, so time, it seems to be sort of implying that, you know, the transformation has its own divine timing, and to allow the helpers of transformation to enact that timing. You know, there's probably some specifics in there that you aren't aware of. It could be something as simple as a road closure. You could set off with your truck and the road's closed or whatever. So I will read that again because that's 3 yeses. That seems to be one of the most important bits of what we've pulled today. So I'll read it again. After turning it over, so you've turned over, you're turning over the matter to the sage and the helpers for completion. So after turning it over, he needs to keep any doubts, expectations and wondering about it dispersed and separate from the ego's tendency to focus his inner eye on the matter, right? So the ego's actually getting in the way. The ego's with its wanting, worrying, trying to name things, trying to preemptively define things, all this, right? Okay, so the ego needs to be kept on a good leash here. Otherwise, it's not going to be as smooth. The letting go needs to be complete, especially in regard to the time required for the transformation to take place. All right, next paragraph. 2 yeses, so this is for some of you. Spells connected with this hexagram are created by beliefs that isolate a person from the helpers. This is your cosmic helpers we're talking about. Among them is a person's belief that helpers do not exist. Well, you must understand that cosmic helpers exist if you want their help. It is not necessary to believe in helpers for the transformation to become possible, but it is necessary to deprogram the beliefs that disable them. These beliefs say, I can or must do it all myself, or what is our intelligence for, or there is no help. Such beliefs act as spells. Right, so you've got to watch out for those negative spells going around inside your head that are blocking the help of the helpers. Right. Okay, so do we want the last paragraph, dear Sage? Okay, 3 yeses for the last paragraph, so this is important to everyone. So there's something in here that's important, right? Other spells blocking the transformation have to do with the belief in changes. All that is needed to make successes to happen as a change. That's incorrect. A change in partners, jobs, scenes, engineering, policies, etc. The belief in changes ignores the fact that transformation, which is true change, can only be brought about by the helpers. Other spells that block transformation have to do with beliefs in initiation. One needs to become initiated, as in by a human master, into the mysteries that lead to masteries. Right, so the sage and the helpers are able to get you past these things if you can let go of those limiting beliefs or negative spells. All right. Now, for the moving line, do we read the first paragraph? Yes, 3 yeses. Okay, he breaks the wheels, being firmly correct brings good fortune. We're up to moving line 2 now. Gee, that traffic's noisy. He breaks his wheels is a suggestion that the person has been making progress in a wagon or carriage, which has been appropriate for his passage across land. However, now, since this part of the journey has been completed, with the next step requiring him to cross water, the appropriate vehicle is a boat. This means, whereas his effort consisted of doing his full share, now the completion is done by the helper of transformation as the other half. Right, so some of it's not even your job to do. I mean, most of your job seems to be getting your head out of the way and getting rid of beliefs that aren't true, beliefs that there's no helpers of the invisible world, beliefs that it's just about changing things, that changes will be enough. Changes are not going to be enough in this situation. What's required is an actual transformation. Right, so you've got to be ready to act, but not to want to do too much before the road opens effectively. You'll know when it's time to act because it will flow and suddenly that whole pressure feeling will lift off. You'll get the clarity and you'll be able to shoot like an arrow. Like it'll become